7, 8, and 9, which we'll go over just now. Also, you need to also be able to, or you hope you guys have completed your FA1 and your FA2 on ICANN, right? The assessments are still open. So if any of you here have missed any of those assessments, please make sure you complete FA1 or FA2 if you have not done so, right? And remember, there are no limit to the attempts, and the system generates the highest mark, and that goes towards your final mark. Okay, so if you haven't done your outstanding assessments that you may have, please complete it on ICANN because it carries marks towards your final mark, and the summative as well is very important, right? So with your summative, it's similar to FA1 and FA2, right? Your questions will be in different orders, but it will be from content, of course, that you have done, right? So it can come from unit 1, it can come from unit 5, unit 6, any unit, but it includes you going over the content for all your units, right? And the portal will open on the 13th of December because that's when your summative is due, right? It's due on the 13th, yes. Okay, so on the 13th at 12 midnight, it will open, and you will be able to, of course, complete your assessments, right? Or your summative as well. Okay, so guys, if you have any questions, please post it on the chat box as well, so I can address them in the session as well. So I have a query that your FA2, one of the students FA2 has limited you to continue with an attempt. Okay, so I'm currently on ICANN as well. So I can check with you guys as you post your questions. Okay, so LAT. Okay, just give me a minute, guys. I'm just going under assignment 2. Right, so please, guys, also note that the summative will not be available now. You won't be able to see it on ICANN. Only on the 13th will you be able to see and submit as well. Right. Okay, so your FA2, you have 3 attempts, right? You have 3 attempts, of course, which is more than enough attempts. You have 3 attempts for FA2. And of course, the system will take the highest mark. And same with FA1 and FA2. Your summative, you need to get 50% and over in order to pass the assessment. Okay, your summative as well. You need 50% and over to pass. If you have any other questions, guys, you can please post it on the chat box. Let's see with FA1. Okay, assignment 1. Okay, so with assignment 1, there was no restrictions. Assignment 2, you have 3 attempts, okay? You have 3 attempts. So if you haven't completed any of those assessments yet, please go under ICANN, go under assignment 1 and complete it. If you have not, go under assignment 2 and complete it if you have not. And when the summative is available, you will be able to complete that, of course, on the 13th of December. Okay, so there's a question, how many times can the summative assessment be attempted? Okay, that's a good question. Okay, so it will be the attempts that you will be able to complete on your summative. I will keep it same as FA2, so your summative will be allowed 3 attempts, okay, for your summative as well. Okay, so FA2 is 3 attempts, and your summative as well will be 3 attempts. Right? So of course, whichever you get the highest, if for example, say for the first attempt you get like 30%, second attempt you get 70, and if you want to keep to the second attempt, that's fine. But if maybe you want to try it again and say you get 85, then the system, of course, will take the 85 percentage. Okay, guys. So if you have failed the entire 3 attempts, right, then you of course will be locked out because you have not managed to pass the 3 attempts, right? But what I can do for FA2, I can move it to 4 attempts, but that's the most I can do, guys. FA2, I can change it to 4 attempts for you guys, but if you fail that, then there's nothing much I can do to help you in that case, okay? So if you have not passed FA2, I'll also send an ICANN message to those as well that are not here in this live session that you can, you know, um, actually attempt it again. Let me just change that as well. Okay, so with assignment 2 as well, the errors have been addressed. There was only one error with one question. You have to read the question carefully to answer it. The error that we did find was 1, and it was edited, so that has been sorted out as well. Okay, so I'm just going to edit the attempts to 4 attempts here. Okay, so it's now FA2, we have 4 attempts, right? Right, so in the attempts that you have done, if the entire 3 attempts, there's a question here, which marks will be recorded. So with the 3 attempts, like I said, the highest mark will be recorded, okay? Will be taken is the highest mark that you get from those 3 attempts. Well, if you fail FA1 and 2, then of course you'll have to, yes, you can try and complete the summative, but remember the pass mark for the overall module is 50%. Right? You can attempt the summative. If you passed your first assessment, right, and the second you got 49, yes, you will still be able to write, right? 49 is condoned to 50, right? So you will be able to write your summative. Okay, so I quickly want to go over the units for logistics and transportation management. So to just recap, Unit 1, we dealt with the introduction to logistics management, right? So that dealt with the key definition and terms that you need to know in logistics management, some of the trends, and the role of logistics in the South African economy, as well as being able to define logistics and supply chain management, how has logistics evolved, and the logistics function. Okay, so that was Unit 1. With Unit 2, we focused on demand management, right? The defining what is demand management, some of the patterns that influence demand forecasting, what are the different forecasting techniques, and what exactly is order management, right? That's Unit 2. With Unit 3, focus was on packaging and materials handling. Here we looked at the role and value of packaging in logistics, the function of packaging, packaging system, packaging equipment, labeling, packaging for distribution efficiency, packaging cost, and packaging technologies. Unit 4 was logistics information systems. So here were the different logistics information systems, some of the information requirements for decision making, information technologies for logistics information, and future trends 4.0. Unit 5 dealt with transport, the role of transport and logistics, some of the different modes of transport, transport costing, transport infrastructure, transport delivery as well. Unit 6 entailed reverse logistics, some of the drivers of reverse logistics, barriers to reverse logistics implementation. Okay, also looked at product returns in the reverse logistics process, reverse logistics processes and strategic considerations, product recalls, waste management. Unit 7 entails customer service. Okay, so that is defining customer service elements, basic customer dimensions, customer service strategy, customer service audit, customer service measurements, as well as international logistics, which is Unit 8. And that is including content that relates to international logistics in South Africa, uh, international logistics, and South Africa, reasons to enter into international markets, factors that influence international logistics, distribution channel intermediaries, some of the free trade agreements and free trade zones, international trade information requirements, international trade documentation, legal contracts and issues in international trade, and request for proposal in international logistics. And the last unit, which was Unit 9, which focused on logistics control, right? So here your focus was you must be able to define control, the control cycle, even the logistics control cycle, the concept of quality, performance management, what is benchmarking, and the score model in logistics as well. Okay, so that was just a recap, guys. I didn't share my screen for that. That was just a recap over Unit 1 to 9. As you know, right? So all of what I just said, guys, is your units, which you'll find under each unit. So if you open Unit 1, you'll find the learning outcomes that I mentioned. Unit 2, same thing. Everything I just mentioned is under each of your unit learning outcome, right? So if you missed what I just said, this was just a recap of what you already have, right? Your study guide. So if you open each of your units, you'll find exactly the same learning outcomes that I just mentioned to you. Just that with you, each unit is broken up under the on ICANN. Each of the units are broken up, right? So you will be able to open, for example, Unit 5 and find the learning outcomes, as I mentioned, like for Unit 5, its focus here, we said, is transport. Right, so you'll find what I just mentioned and the content under Unit 5. So you just learn all your units for your summative, and there will be questions based on that as well, okay? But just to address the other question there, that there were errors. There were only one errors in FA2 that has been rectified. The question is, maybe in that question, there's a word that's missing or something that's changed that you need to read properly in order to actually find the correct option, okay? But you have another attempt for FA2, which you can if you have failed FA2 3 attempts, you have last one. But unfortunately, if you fail this attempt, there will be no more attempts for you on that regard as well. Okay, guys, do you have any more questions that you may want to ask or need clarification on? Okay, so there's a question here as well. How long would it take again to get a job if with your certificate? Okay, of course, after you get your certificate, you apply with your CV. right? So I suggest that you apply, send your certificate with your CV to the job that you're applying, and hopefully you will be able to get the job. But I suggest that you send your CV with your certificate as well. You send a copy of your certificate. Um, you know, make sure you have copies of your certificate, and you can send it and apply with your CV. That carries more weight as well. Okay, and also make sure that your CV is up to date, guys. Make sure you see, if you go on Google, if you see the latest CV, templates, use those, make your CV attractive. Those things stands out when you apply for a job. They look at your CV. So it depends with the latest trend now, of course. Um, sorry about that.